It is very refreshing to drive something which is not a subcompact or a compact SUV slash crossover. We have been driving this, the new Maruti Suzuki Celerio, and the Celerio nameplate has done pretty well for the industry. Of course, some people might say that for a Maruti Suzuki product, the numbers have not really been very good, but for the industry, the numbers have been very solid. And the previous generation model was a very proper, good, fun car to drive as well. I have driven it on the track and it just completely took me by surprise because I did not expect it to be so dynamically sorted as it was. But this one has changed completely from the silhouette point of view and also how it feels from behind the wheel. This, of course, has lost its angularity, but we will see whether this grown-up attitude is something that appeals to a much wider audience. So let's get behind the wheel again and tell you all about the new Maruti Suzuki Celerio. So the Celerio has moved on from being a pretty little thing, very angular design, as I said before as well, to something which is very rounded in its silhouette and in terms of overall design, decent front. I think that looks pretty okay. And at the rear, if you especially look at it, again, especially standing right behind the car, then it reminds you a little bit of the Baleno, a little bit of some other cars, and the general overall stance is just about average. So it is a car that's not really going to offend a lot of people, as I said again, but at the same time, nothing too spectacular, nothing too striking. So on looks, just about average. But then there is a complete change on the inside, and that shows because the space management is really strong in here. This is my driving position, and I went and checked how much space would I have if I were to sit at the back, and it's not bad. There is not a lot of kneeroom, of course, because it's a small car, 3700 millimeters in overall length, but the wheelbase is almost about 65% of the overall length of the car, and that is not bad at all. It actually liberates a lot of space inside the cabin. The seats are also pretty okay. I really like the back of the seat, the recline, and I think that hugs you in all the right places, but the base could have been slightly better. The cushioning is very good. So overall seat design, I think the base again could be slightly better, but the cushioning is great and the recline or the backrest is very nice. So that is not too bad. Things are not really great in the back though. The base is very small, and for a tallish person, it is going to feel like you don't really have a great amount of thigh support, and that can be a little bit of a problem. But for shorter people, it's going to be a completely different affair. The one thing that really irritated me was the design of the head restraint. Now again, if you are slightly tall, you're going to sit in a way where if you have to support your neck onto that, then you'll literally have to just go like this, and it's actually going to give you neck pain. So not recommended at all. And even in an unfortunate event of an accident, that is going to give you a fair amount of whiplash, and it's not really going to be very good for your neck. So that the design, the integrated design of the head restraint is not the most ideal. In fact, even the front seats, they have an integrated headrest. I'm not a great fan of integrated head restraints because in terms of safety and also comfort, the removable ones, they give you that much more flexibility, and the comfort factor goes up a little bit more. Now in terms of ergonomics, again, the overall design of the dashboard is kind of wasted on me because I think there could have been much better and cleverer storage spaces that Maruti could have done in the whole way the dashboard has been designed right now. There is a slash over here towards the passenger that you cannot just hold anything over there, and I think if it would have been a nice beam sort of a design, you could have at least been able to store a few things. And then you have the power window switches, which are here, and that's not as intuitive as having it on the door or the handle over here. And yeah, it takes time getting used to. The lock and lock button is also here, but that does not really bother me so much as the controls for the rear windows is also down here, and that is one very awkward for even the person operating those switches from the front, and also for the people who are sitting at the back, because it's a fair amount of stretch if you have to go and do that entire control of the switches. So the placement of these buttons is not the most ideal, and it's these small little things that could have been done better, I think. Features, it's pretty okay. You get a 7-inch touchscreen system, all the usual connectivity jazz is there, and one thing that I don't really like about the new Celerio is the fact that Maruti has omitted reversing camera from the car, and that I think is not the right thing to do. It's not that it's a big car and it's going to be a very problematic thing to park it in tight spaces, but you have now gotten so used to a camera that, and I'm not really saying this because I drive cars and they all have cameras all the time, and it's not that, it's just generally people have started expecting these basic features as a default in any car they buy. And if you have a 7-inch screen and everything of this sort, you definitely want to have a simple element like a reversing camera, because that really enhances the comfort and convenience. You don't really have to think too much, you don't have to look around. And specifically for this car, because the C-pillar is fairly thick, if you are reversing and if you have to look outside, you have to turn back, you will have a little bit of a blind spot. So yeah, I think a reversing camera would have sorted that out completely. On dynamics, this car is not too bad. The first thing that I noticed was that it rides on decent Yokohama tires for the segment. They're very, very good. And that just gives you that confidence on braking and just going into the corners as well. And this Hardtech platform is actually quite brilliant. It's light on its feet, and now the 1-liter engine, so that 1-liter engine produces about 64-65 bhp and a fair bit of torque, 89 newton meters or thereabouts, and it's enough to pull it out of any situation so long as it's good regular tarmac. And even on overtaking, you don't really have to think too much and you don't really have to calculate your moves. Just be in the right gear and it's going to sort it out for you, and the torque delivery is pretty okay. The only thing is that sometimes it just feels that it needs that little push, especially because we have been driving in a little bit of hilly areas and there are some inclines. In those conditions, you really feel that the engine is kind of giving away. And otherwise, regular city driving should not be a problem at all, especially with a manual. I've also driven the AMT, the AGS gearbox as Maruti calls it, and that is not the most ideal one. The manual is still something that I'll take over the AGS every single time. Even the way it shifts is not the most intuitive. Yes, it's great on convenience again because you don't really have to modulate the clutch pedal and then shift through the edge pattern, but otherwise this manual gearbox is pretty solid. The ratios are fairly okay. It's not really geared for excitement, but the flexibility that this gearbox and engine combination offers is fairly nice. And you'll not even mind shifting the gears through the box because the shift quality is alright. Could have been definitely a lot slicker than what it is, because some Marutis in the past have been absolutely glorious. The last generation Swift, for example, was absolutely phenomenal. But this one is not too bad again. But there is one peculiar thing about this car, or in fact any of the recent Maruti Suzukis. The steering feels a little sticky on the road. You throw it in and it just kind of stays. You have to manually force it away from the corner, otherwise you're just going to go into a barrier or something like that. So this stickiness is something that I'm just completely baffled by, and it's a little bit more pronounced on the Celerios. High speed, it can definitely become a bit unnerving, but even on slow speeds, it is something that you will feel that, it's kind of vague and it's not the most ideal thing to have. So this stickiness of the steering when you're turning into corners is something that's just bizarre. Now this price segment is among the most hyper-performing segments. 5 to about 8-9 lakh rupees. And this is where a lot of action is happening. This is where cars like the Grand i10 Neos and the Tata Punch are placed, along with a few other Marutis themselves. So you have right from the WagonR to the Ignis that play in this segment. So to be able to create a niche for itself for the Celerio is going to be a very, very challenging ask. But at the same time, who knows? Because it's a Maruti and the claim fuel efficiency figures are just insane. Almost 27 kilometers to a liter is what the company claims, and that is, by any stretch of the imagination, a huge, huge figure. Even in real driving terms, it's going to give you 18, 20. I've heard people getting 21, 22 as well. I think that is going to be its highlight. But generally, I think apart from probably space and a little bit of fuel efficiency, flaunt value that this car has, there is still work to do. There is still work to do.